I'm 24 now. This has been a cycle going on since I was 18. The final time that I left was 2024. So I was 23. That was the last and final time. And that's when I was like, enough is enough. Because, like, it was just so toxic. Like, it was the same cycle every single day. This lady would pick fights with me. It was always something like, and then she never liked for me to relax. She never liked for me to enjoy myself. She never liked to see me happy. And that's when I knew that this was a bigger problem and that this wasn't someone that deserved to be in my life. Because if you can't stand to see me happy, if my happiness is irritating you, you don't deserve to be around me. Basic human right. Everybody deserves to be happy. So if you want to rain down on my parade, you don't deserve to be around me. And you don't deserve to have access to me, regardless of what your title is in my life. And I think it's hard for some people to believe this because they're like, this is your parent. Like, your parents aren't supposed to treat you like that. This is what a lot of people be saying too. Like, oh, it must be something wrong with you. Or, you must be the problem. So, yeah, it's just sad that I had to experience all that I had to experience at the hands of these individuals because I decided to advocate for myself. I decided to stand up for myself. And then it made me vulnerable and I got preyed on. And a lot of people, they did not help me because I didn't allow them to abuse me. I could have been went and got me a rich man. Do you know how many offers I have? Do you see me? Billionaires be all over me. But I'm not about to date no man for his money just because he got money. I have to know what type of person you are. Just because a man got money don't mean he a good man. So yeah. Like, I would love to have a relationship with these people. But the betrayal, the true colors that I seen, it's like no coming back from that. And two people do right by me, it's nothing to talk about. I don't care about titles. I don't care about being related. If you are opposing what God has for me, you got to get out the way. And that's just that. People never believe the victim. And it's sad. People always villainize the victim. And then they give more empathy to the villain. And it's sad. It's because those people are master manipulators. Just like how the family that's going viral right now. The older generation is the main ones that be enabling this behavior. I don't know, maybe because they abuse their children as well too. Because a lot of the older generation, they were abused as children, but they didn't stop the cycle. They chose to abuse the younger generation instead of protecting them. And I know my parents may believe like they did their best with me or whatever. However, they have harmed me in the process. They set me up for failure, basically. And yeah, they set me up for failure. And they may have assisted me with some things, like even when I was in certain like programs, compared to certain other the people that was in the programs, I was more prepared compared to them. Most people, they didn't have survival skills, they didn't have life skills, they didn't know how to clean, they didn't know how to cook. But because I grew up with a parent that was like real strict and authoritative, I knew about these things. However, like, what I have experienced completely traumatized me and it completely set me back years. It took a lot of time away from me. I wasted a lot of time because I had to consistently rebuild my life and I had to consistently fight certain people off of me. It made me vulnerable and nobody will really help me because they just see me as, like, I don't know, like a charity case, a leech, a bum, whatever. I was never given a chance to tell my story. I was never given a chance to tell my side. And I was never given a chance to receive justice for what happened to me. And because of this, it made me so vulnerable that, even like I just said earlier, being in certain programs and certain shelters, I was getting abused in these shelters. Like, they took advantage of the fact that I needed them. They literally abused me and they weaponized that against me. And they literally directly sabotaged my growth, just like the people that I just escaped. But yeah, and it was mainly like, it was more so directed towards me. Like, even for instance, like my mom would like hug my younger siblings and stuff like that, but she would not be hugging me. But she would do that to my younger siblings. Like, I was always excluded. Even when I was younger, she was so strict to me. She was telling me like, "Oh, you can't get braids with colors, or you can't get your hair long." But my younger sisters, when they let them get those things younger than I did, and it was sad to experience, but I'm like, dang, I can't be mad at my siblings because it's not their fault. And at least they get to have an enjoyable childhood. But it was like the abuse was so bad. Not only was the majority of the adults abusing me, like that was the type of dynamic where people was okay with abusing me and using me and mammifying me and taking advantage of me. It even went down to the kids. The kids was doing it too because they seen that behavior, they seen that dynamic, and they was doing that too. Had little kids abusing me too, but I'm like, these little kids, I'm not finna be doing nothing to these little kids. They kids. So I just sat there and took it. And then to have to experience that and then go into the real world and have to get abused by bosses and managers that are insecure, by insecure people in public, people in these programs in the shelter, people who's supposed to be helping me and then abusing me, to these false ideologies talking about some, oh, well, in the Bible it says to obey your parents. You guys weaponize the Bible so much, it's disgusting. You guys tolerate and enable abuse so much, it's completely disgusting. What I have had to endure because the elders refuse to get it together is disgusting. Y'all seen exactly everything that I went through, and y'all chose to stay silent, and y'all chose to kick me while I was down. And then, like, it's like people don't realize how much trauma F's you up. Trauma completely F's you up. It messes with your nervous system, it gives you PTSD. Trauma completely messes you up. That's not something that's simple. People think that they can traumatize people and then they can just go on with their life. No, you just harmed somebody's whole life. You just affected somebody's whole life. And most of these people, they don't be having no remorse at all. People want to be like, oh, that's your parent. You only have one parent. Do you know how hard of a decision it takes a child to cut off their parent? Do you know how hard you have to contemplate to decide, I have to cut my parent out of my life because they're no good for me? Do you know how hard that is? And y'all want to gaslight people who have the courage to do that, to not be abused? Y'all are just like the abuser. You're no much better than that person. Yeah, because I have multiple people tell me that, oh, you should just, go back home, or you should just forgive them. They're already forgiven, but I could never forget that type of betrayal, making me homeless. You think I could forget that? I didn't come from a wealthy family, but I came from a middle class family. I never went without. So to have to experience homelessness and people think I should just forget about that type of betrayal, people don't understand what I have had to go through. How much of a prey, how much how much it led me to be vulnerable going through that. And them people didn't care. They didn't check up on me. And then have that audacity to be texting my phone talking about I love you and I miss you. These people are manipulators. And a lot of the people who are okay with this is because either you are a victim of this abuse or you're just like the abuser. And if you are a victim, it's because you don't have the courage to cut off your abuser. So you want to project onto the ones who actually have the courage to say no and stop the cycle. It's ridiculous. I have never experienced what I have experienced these last few years. It has left me super vulnerable. I have had to be like I was in abusive business contracts, getting abused in homeless programs. You think I can just forget about stuff like that? I'm supposed to just forget about stuff like that? I'm supposed to keep people in my life that put me in positions like that, that's abusing me and allowing other people to abuse me too, that's been stealing from me since I was a child. Not just physical things, I'm talking about spiritual things, stealing my happiness, stealing my confidence, stealing my peace. And I'm supposed to just forget that and just say family. Anything could have happened to me out here in these streets, but because I got real life spiritual protection over me, that's why I've been spiritually protected. That's why nothing has really happened to me that's super extreme, because I have real angels that walk with me every single day. And because of my spiritual beliefs and because of, my spirituality, this is what the real problem is. These people got a problem with my spiritual beliefs. All of these people. This is what the real problem is about. If you dig into the root of the issue, people is just mad about how I choose to express myself. People are mad about the way I live my life, which is my basic human right. Y'all are violating my rights because you're discriminating against me. Because you don't like how I dress, you don't like how I talk, da da da. That has nothing to do with you. That is a form of discrimination. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that because I should have been got the justice that I deserve. But because people want me to be down so bad, that's why it's been prolonged and delayed. People want to control me so bad. That's what the real issue is. And also, too, there's a potential, it's alleged, I'm going to say alleged, that my family was stealing from me. Because I'm going to just put it all on the table. 2 years before my grandmother passed away, she won a big settlement. When my grandmother passed away, I was an adult already. I didn't receive nothing from my grandmother but a moo. One moo. That's all that I received from my grandmother. So I feel like there's something fishy going on, especially with the recent relatives that just passed away. I had people possibly left me something, but ain't nobody saying nothing. And that's theft. And if people were stealing from me spiritually, like I said earlier, but I'm talking about the physical things now. People didn't want me to have nothing. They see me struggling and was still stealing from me. Oh yeah, I'm pressing charges. If that is to be true, I'm pressing charges. It's no coming back from that. And people want to be like, oh, you're cold hearted. Nah, you just got to see the reality of it. They are cold hearted, not me.